call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My apologies for being a little tardy this morning. It was a bad morning to find out we have a engine coolant leak and that was overheating. So I got it sorted out. It's on the car. Yeah, my car. Yeah. Figured it out on the side of the road in Porter County. So we're all good now. First things first, new appointments to the commission, Mr. Holliday.
None.
None. Well, that's simple. Moving on to the roll.
Brevity is a virtue.
Yes, sir. Moving on to roll call.
Okay, since this is an executive board meeting, I will start the attendance with the executive board members first. Tom Dermody. Bill Emerson.
Here.
Richard Hardaway.
Here.
Justin Keel.
Present.
Sue Lynch. Here. Sheila Matias. Lori Mercer. Wendy Miss. Present. Jim Pressel. Jim Tuck.
Present.
I will continue with the rest of the members. George Topple.
Present.
Kyle Allen. Dwayne Arnold. Jeanette Bass. Janet Beck. Jeff Benson. Jim Biggs. Kevin Brightsey. Charlie Brown. Robert Carnahan. Bill Carroll. Anthony Copeland. Don Kraft. Josh Lee Denham. John Nowinski. Dinah Dumris. Denise Ebert. Robert Forster.
Here.
Tony Hendricks. Jack Gerald. Mike Jessen. Scott Keenan. Andrew Kiris. Robert LeMay. Tom McDermott. Edward Morales. Matt Murphy. Wayne Ferry. David Keeler. Jerome Prince. Rick Rykoff. Tom Schmidt. Angie Scott. Brian Smithcorn. Steve Spivar. Gerald Sweats. Sharon Zito. Aaron Tanis. And John Yelkich. That concludes roll call.
Thank you. And you're widely informed we have no public comment today. No one signed up. So we'll move on to the minutes, which are found in pages 1 to 3 of your packet. Everyone's had a chance to review them. Are there any additions or corrections? If there are none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Lynch, second by Mr. Hardaway. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. Report of the chair. I don't have anything. Report of the executive director.
So Justin and I just got back yesterday from Kansas City.
That's
all right. That's okay. It's a joint report.
Yeah, that was a joint report.
National Association of Regional Councils had their executive directors conference and board retreat. Justin serves on the board of the National Association of Regional Councils, or NARC, as the unfortunate acronym is, or just NARC, depending on how you want to say that. So I really appreciate the opportunity to go to that anyway. That's 50 or 60 plus other executive directors from other regional councils like NERC all across the country, and being able to find out what's happening elsewhere, how other folks do things, and gain from that is invaluable. Just to throw out some of the things that we discussed on, there were very topical areas of that we focused on, just some of the bigger ideas or initiatives, just as an FYI. I've appreciated, like I said, the opportunity to talk with other executive directors. NARC is trying to find ways to connect other staff, so other peers and other organizations, so they can also have the same opportunity to learn from what each other do, like chief financial officers, etc. So that's an initiative. There's also a big thrust on how to communicate planning concepts to the next generation and how to get them involved civically in things like organizations like NERC. So that's a big push nationwide, and also a new relationship with an organization called Metrics, which is sort of like NARC, but among European countries and regional entities there. So there's some cross-pollination and discussion overseas on how we do regional coordination. So those are just some highlights from it. Bringing things down a little bit. One more thing I wanted to mention. May try to find more ways to focus on this because this is an area that NERC has not typically been involved in. This may be on that level of general council of governments, but getting to be more and more awareness of the rollout of 988, which is the national crisis hotline similar to 911 for mental health crises and otherwise. And so some of the regional councils in the country that are more involved in those kind of issues have taken on particular roles to help with that coordination. So just want to put that out there for your own communities because I don't think as many folks know that has rolled out nationwide as might, but you're going to see more and more about that for 988. Again, similar to 911, but nationwide rollout for folks in crisis if they have a number to call. And there's trained folks that they will always get a response to. So bringing things down locally, and one thing Tom's down for this quick update, Thomas is spearheading the update of NWI 2050 Plus that I think you have all been aware of. That's our update of our comprehensive plan. And just some quick highlights. We're moving from phase 1 to phase 2. Phase 1 is finding meaning. Phase 2 is creating purpose. So we're making that transition as we barrel on towards May of 2023. The reports that were from each of the 4 areas that we hired consultants for, those will be posted on the website very, very soon. You may see NERC at pop-up events at bike shops. Remember we did the county fairs? We've been popping up at bike shops across the region, so you can see NERC there. The online survey, which I think we had distributed this to everybody before, but I've got more copies. Just pass those around and wherever they can go to everybody that's here. This is the document or distal brochure that we were giving out at the fair and elsewhere that has the link to the online survey for the plan. That's got a series of questions you can answer. It's also got an interactive map, literally digital map, to literally pinpoint areas that you want to highlight or engage in planning effort in the region. So there's some geography attached to your comments. So that's all electronic and all available by scanning that QR code that's on the back of the document. And then something that I think has been really, really cool that Thomas has been helping to get us forge these relationships with is a new partnership with Boys and Girls Club of Northwest Indiana. And this goes right in line with the theme I was talking about that was discussed on the national level of the National Association of Regional Councils of getting youth involved in the planning process. And there's some exciting opportunities going on with the very location of the Boys and Girls Club to have more involvement from those that are going to be impacted by the decisions that we make today. So I think that's the summation of my report. Thanks for the time.
Next is the report of the Finance and Personnel Committee. I see Mr. Germany's not here to fill it in.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Finance and Personnel Committee met this morning to review the financial reports for September 2022. Also, we reviewed the Federal Association of Planning for September. There's one action for consideration today. It's a request for the approval of the contract agreement for Echo Interactive for GIP software services, and Lisa will speak to that.
Thank you. Good morning. Back in September of 2017, NERC entered into a contract with Eco Interactive, and the company provides our electronic transportation improvement program system. So it's an e-tip. You may be familiar with the fact that NERC provides the tip information online for communities and members to go review and see what projects are being tracked. So this is a software as a service that this company provides for us. Our contract was for 5 years. So we are asking to extend this contract for 2 more years into year 6 at a cost not to exceed $50,600, and into year 7 at a cost not to exceed $53,130. The reason for a contract extension is that this is really about the only company that's available out there right now that is providing this service for us. And so it'd be very difficult to try to find another company. There's really just not another software. Plus, this software is currently being used by other MPOs and entities. NDOT has looked at it and several other agencies. If we don't continue with the software, we need to go back to the platform of using Excel spreadsheets, and it's not as public and not as available. So we're asking that we be allowed to enter into a contract extension for 2 more years. Questions?
Thank you.
Comes with a favorable recommendation? Yes.
Finance personnel.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve. Second. There's a motion by Mr. Emerson, second by Mr. Tun. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and it's approved.
Our next meeting will be December the 8th at 8 a.m. and that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Technical Planning Committee, Mr. Breitseed.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you for passing the ETIP financing. It's something that's used by all or should be used by all of our communities. I would direct you to talk to staff about getting access to it so you can track your projects. It's a very effective way of making sure we're spending all of our dollars and doing it well. Technical Planning Committee met on Tuesday, October 4th. There are 3 actions for consideration today. The first action is Resolution 2219, adopting the NERC Transit-Oriented Development, or known as TOD, program eligibility, the supporting report, and scoring criteria. The resolution can be found on page 9 of your packet. Iman Ibrahim will explain this action.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Do you see me? Yeah, we need to turn.
It's better to leave them on.
On the other side.
No, it's better to leave them both on. For the live streaming at least. Okay. That's fine.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to give you an overview today about the new NERC TOD, or Transit-Oriented Development funding program. It came as a recommendation starting from the 2040 plan and also came as a recommendation of the 2050 plan. We always support the transit-oriented development, but we thought that this is the time now to have a specific funding for a TOD. And also to support the current initiatives and efforts that is happening within the region, the support from one region, the support from the RTA and from NICTI. So that was a good timing to have this program in place. So in this one, basically we wanted to bring vitality to the area. We wanted to fund the projects that to provide and also implement some of the elements of the transit-oriented development. And to do that, we have a supporting report, which is already online and was linked to the agenda. I hope everyone took a look into this report because it really has a lot of good information that is helping the communities when they apply for the funding. So we put eligibility, we put the report, we selected 18 stations for this effort. So the first one is the 13 stations that we have along the South Shore double tracking and also the West Lake corridor. So we are providing funding for that, not specifically planning because NICTI received $1.5 million grant, and now they are working with the RTA and consultant to develop a transit-oriented development plan for the 13 stations. And also we selected the 5 stations, the map on the right showing all the stations, which is total 18 stations, 13 train stations, and we have 5 bus stations. We selected, of course we have so many bus stops, but we can't, as of now, we started with the program, we cannot fund every single stations. So we selected 5. The first one in East Chicago, Indianapolis Boulevard at the 4700 block. And also we have 3 actually in Gary. One in the train station, which is the metro station, and we have 2 other stations The first one on the 11th Street and Broadway, which is a very like an active area for people using the buses, and the second one around the IUN area, 35th and Broadway. And in Maryville, we have the Century Plaza, which is US 30 with the Broadway. The last one is in Valparaiso, the main transit area of Valparaiso along the Brown Street. So we have like a certain criteria, as I mentioned, to select the 5 bus stations. We looked at the number of ridership, and also we looked at the frequency of buses. So if we have buses stops every 20 minutes, more than 1 stop per hour, this is like a give it a high priority within the area. So when we did that, the blue circle, as you see, we have one in Valparaiso, which was selected, and we have along Broadway multiple stations, but also we consider other things of the number of population and employment along the area. So we started with the 5 stations. So in this one, to make the TOD successful, we have to have a balance, a good balance between housing and employment. And when I looked at the number of acres for every station, by the way, we identified the boundary of the area within a half a mile from the station location. So if we have a good balance between the green and blue, it means that like we have a good balance between housing and employment, and that's impacted the number of auto trips within the area. So if we have like a more blue or more green, it means like we will have more people driving. They can access the shopping or employment area within like a walking distance or by bike if they live in the same area. So we see some significant area which is has a blue. I'm trying to read here. It's too small, but like all the area along, for example, Beverly Shores, Toon Park, Portage Ogden Dunes. These areas, they don't have any significant employment, and because also of the environmental restriction along this area. So, and we provide recommendation for this type of transit-oriented development. So they will have different elements than other stations. So we classified the transit-oriented development into 3 areas. So the TOD1, which is mostly urban core and downtown area, and we selected Hammond Gateway, Gary Metro Center, and also Michigan City. And the first one, you see the dense of the network and the street intersection, and that's a good element or a good base to have a transit-oriented development, and specifically in an area like the urban core area. The second one, here I'm showing example of the Monster Ridge Road, and this one, suburban communities, they won't have the same elements or the same density like we have in TOD1. TOD3, which is the commuter communities, and that's, for example, as I mentioned, Toon Park, Ogden Dunes, Beverly Shores. These areas, they have some restriction. They don't have, as you see, a street network. They don't have a small blocks, so because of the national rickshaw. So to start with that, of course, we did a typology and analyzing all of the data around every station. We looked at the land use type, the type of elements that are required for a transit-oriented development. We look at the street network connectivity, and also we look at the open space and parks and parking within the area. And by the end, we make recommendations for every community based on the classification of the TOD 1 or 2 or 3. So we classified the investment year type based on the 3 types. The first one is the TOD progressing, and in this one we look at more successful prototype land use. These areas really successful, they are ahead, they have a plan, they have all the basics for a TOD, but they might have like high prices housing within these areas. So they don't have like a low income housing, and that's what we really make recommendation that they make more affordable housing around the TOD so people can live near transit stations. And also we wanted them to focus on more amenities for urban streetscape and seating and benches around this area. And we have examples like that, like we have Michigan City, we have Valparaiso. These communities are ready to go and moving to the next step for implementation. The next one, which is TOD emergent, and in this one, so they might have planned, they might have a good downtown, but they don't have the right density or the intensive of buildings, and they need to make changes to reach the TOD in their area. So they need to look at the market, how to make a strong market, and also looking to increase the activity using the high density within the area. The third one is the TOD restricted, and that's, as I mentioned, and here is an example of Doom Park Station. So they have a high quality transit, they have a good number of ridership, but they don't have the urban character like in TOD1 and TOD2. They don't have, because of the National Lakeshore and the open space around the area. So this one is very restricted. They are low in population, low in employment, and we really cannot make much changes to that. So our recommendation here for the type of investment is to have like improving accessibility to this area. So having transit, having bike trails that people can reach the station, and also improve walkability to the station. But we don't have much improvement that we could do it from the land use perspective. So these are the three types, and with every station we make the recommendations. Is like what type of funding and what's the need, which is needed for them ready to apply for our application. This one should be released with the NOFA next week, the program. So, and that will be the first time for people to apply specifically for a TOD funding. So the eligibility, of course, within the half a mile, but also the half a mile is a circle. So if the circle intersect with any parcels within a block, will be all included within the eligibility area. So both for buses and for the train stations. So this is an example. We also including the transit development district that identified by the RDA. The one on the left is showing an example of Monster Ridge Road TDD area. So if we look at that, it's not like the development or the funding of the TDD will be available for specifically for commercial along the Ridge Road and Manor Road, but they are not covering the residential area. The distance between the residential area or other employment to the station. So I think our funding will work well with that to cover this area. As you see on the right, we have the circle, but we captures all the parcels that intersect with the circle. So that's the eligibility area. So we are offering in this grant the TOD planning, and the TOD planning include like specifically planning for the bus station. As I mentioned, they already received NICTE received funding to do a TOD for all the train stations. So in this time we have only the planning available for a bus station to have like a TOD area plan, revitalization, redevelopment, or we could also do like a market analysis. However, like all the other communities for all the 18 stations can apply for other type of plans, which is after the TOD plan, they might need a wayfinding plans, living streets plan, road diet. They could also have improvement or connectivity plans. So that's the first one. Also, TOD supported policy. So it's eligible also to apply for a policy for affordable housing, equitable development and, or the TOD design guidelines, or zoning and ordinance. The last one here, which is implementation, and that's, we can apply for pre-development plan and construction plans, and we listed that, and you can see it in the program, between page 9 and 14, where we listed all the eligibility. And also we have these criteria that we use it to also to score all of the applications that will be submitted. So that's the plan. The TPC recommended resolution 1922, and I'm asking you if you can approve that.
Yeah, the Technical Planning Committee recommends adoption of Resolution 2219. Are there any questions for Imam?
How much funding is tied to this for these sort of projects?
For now, like we put like a 500 for planning, like 400, and we have another 100, and for implementation also we might get up to 600,000, but you know, like some of them available next year and some will be in the next 4 years.
Yes.
Yeah, I had a similar question about how much, I guess, overall funding would this direct? Like, as far as development dollars, do we have an idea of how much?
That's what I'm saying. It's now we have 600,000.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? My understanding is this comes with a favorable recommendation from TPC. Is there a motion to approve resolution 22-19? So, motion by Mr. Khan, second by Mr. Hardaway. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you.
The next, second action is Resolution 2220, fiscal year 2022 to 2066, fifth amendment, 2207. Mr. Aloga will give us a summary of the 30-day comment period for the amendments, and then explain the action. The comment report starts on page 15 of your report, followed by the resolution. The Technical Planning Committee also recommends favorably the adoption of Resolution 2220.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Executive Committee. Thank you, George. I have one resolution and amendment before you. Resolution 2220 is for the amendment 22.07 and is shown on pages 16 to 31 of the packet. The projects listed in these amendments were released for public comment on September 12th and closed on October 3rd. As stated in the public comment report on page 15, NERC did not receive any comments on any of the projects on the proposed amendments. Prior to sending the amendments out for public comment, we sent the amendments to members of the Intergovernmental Consultation Group, or the ICG, for their comments. So pages 18 to 31, amendment number 20-22.07, and contains projects for fiscal years 23, 24, 25, and 26. These include projects that INDOT added. They added one new environmental mitigation project, two new ITS, or Intelligent Transportation System, traffic management systems projects, added PE, or engineering funds in fiscal year 23-24 to the PEL study for US 30 for Eastern Quarter of the 4 counties, and one new roadway safety project. In Michigan City, they added right-of-way to an on-road trail on Liberty Trail Road. NERC, we added 3 projects for the Marquette Greenway in relation to the RAISE funding. In Portage, they added construction funding to a project in an out year. And in Porter, we added a project to the Indiana Community Center. Again, all of this can be found starting on page 18, starting with the INDOT revisions, and then cascading through the local revisions. I'll entertain any questions at this time, as best as I can in Charles' position.
Are there any questions for Mitch in the absence of Charles? Thank you.
There are no questions. Is there a motion to approve resolution 22-20? say aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. It's approved. Thank you.
Our final action today is for resolution 2221, fiscal year 2023-2024 Unified Planning Work Program Amendment number 1. The resolution can be found on page 32 of your packet. And Thomas Dow will explain this action. Mr. Dow.
Good morning, thank you. I appreciate it. This morning, we are asking that the board approve a relatively minor change to the Unified Planning Work Program. That's the document that describes how we intend to use our federal planning dollars that we receive from NDOT that originate from Federal Highway and Federal Transit. I say they're relatively minor in terms of the dollar amounts, but they're really important in terms of the impact. Lisa already talked about the contract that we asked you to approve on the first item on the agenda that required action for the EcoActive contract so that we can continue using the ETIP software. So on page 34, you'll see two tables. The second table shows two rows that are shaded. Those are the additions that we're making. And by additions, they're new activities. So you can see under the data collection and analysis, we're adding the TIP software license renewal for $55,000. And then above that, under administration and public participation, we're requesting that we shift funds to allow us to hire a consulting firm to help us with any GIS spatial analysis needs that we have. You may recall that Peter Kimball, our spatial analyst, left a short time ago, and between now and when we're able to fill that position, we thought it might be useful to be able to hire a consulting firm to help us with any spatial analysis or mapping needs that we might have. So those are the two items that we're asking to shift funds to, and we're taking that money. If you look at the first table, you can see there's a shaded line for administration and public participation. We're just shifting money out of the salary line item to cover those costs. So we're not adding any additional costs, we're just shifting things around. There's no net impact to the overall amounts.
Are there any questions or comments? This is mostly housekeeping that Dean conforms with what we're required to do.
If there are no questions, is there a motion to approve resolution 22-11?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Lynch, second by Mr. Thompson. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it.
The next meeting of the Technical Planning Committee will be Tuesday, November 15th, 2022 at 10 a.m. You're all welcome. Also, I was told yesterday that there will be a meeting at Expo in Porter County for the Willow Creek extension, basically for discussion the progress of it. They're in the middle of doing environmental assessments and the impacts to the area. So Structure Point will be making a presentation November 15th from 5:30 to 7:30 for answers.
Thank you. That concludes your report. We'll move on to the report from NDOT. We have Lisa Schrader with us today, who's not, despite her name tag, not Matt actually.
That is correct.
Do you have anything to share with us today?
No, I do not. Thank you for having me. I don't have anything new, but I do want to reiterate that we are looking forward to receiving the Community Crossing Awards in early November. So hopefully we'll have more details on that next month.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. Any other business for the commissioners' information today?
I would just like to take the opportunity to introduce Regina Riddell, who will be taking my place as a representative to NERC from Hiawatha Park.
Thank you for the introduction. Glad for you to be here today. Any announcements?
I'm turning in that year because he's recovering from the knee injury. So I'm filling in for him. And, I just wanted to let everyone know that Bob is, last I knew, Bob is improving. So I have no further announcements for this.
Thank you. Are there any other announcements?
I just say again, I know for various factors full commission meeting, so it's, attendance is extremely important. We have things we have to get approved at that meeting. So please put December 8th, and it's not the third Thursday because of the holidays, so just want to make sure you have December 8th on your calendar and have that blocked to be here at 9 a.m.
Be there or retire, I will hunt you down and bring you in, so.
It'll be our Christmas present.
He does like it approved. Okay, if there are no other announcements, we've reached the end of our agenda. We are adjourned. Thank you all for your attendance today.